Hey, what's going on, guys? Godstatus here. So I wanted to make this video because I kind of referenced making this from my last video, so I thought we'd do it, and it's also a really good idea, and I feel like a lot of people could get a decent bit of information out of this. So we're going to talk about the guns that I personally think are worth spending your credits on and buying before actually unlocking them on your own. I know a lot of people don't enjoy people who buy guns, but really, who cares? Do whatever you want. There's some gameplay in the background. I think we got like 100 and something kills. And the second highest kills on my team was like 16 in 15 minutes, which was kind of disgusting, but oh well. So let's talk about it. I'm going to break them down into categories. I will go ahead and I'll try to explain why I would buy the gun that I'm saying. And then I will also try to put timestamps up right now if you guys just want to go ahead and click through to whatever category you want. Some categories don't even have guns that I'd recommend, but I'm going to kind of go through and explain all that I would. I also want to make it clear real quick that these opinions are based off of a more like quote unquote competitive standpoint in the game, where I talk about the guns that I would buy that I believe could help improve your gameplay the easiest, and they are the most efficient to use as a whole. There are a lot of guns, and I mean a lot, that you can buy and have a really good time using. In no way, shape, or form am I saying don't buy them. These are just the guns that I recommend buying if you want to see an improvement in your gameplay based on the gun that you're using. So to start off, in my opinion, the most popular category is going to be the ARs. Now, I'm not going to be mentioning any low-ranked guns because anything below like level 30, even below like level 50, in all honesty, doesn't take that long to get. And granted, there are guns that I'll kind of throw them in. Things like the Asval, the M16A4 would be worth buying early, but anything else besides that, not really. So the ones that I would buy that are higher ranks are going to be the HK416, the AKM, and the M231, and let's talk about them. So the HK416 I would buy because it is a slightly higher fire rate gun, so it does kill a little bit faster than your average AR, but it does have a little bit more recoil than your average AR, which some people don't like, but it overall is still really good. It really wouldn't be my first top pick, and honestly, there aren't many ARs that I would really go out of my way to buy personally, but this would be one of them. So the AKM would be up next. The AKM is a heavy hitter, a little bit slower fire rate. It's slightly harder to control than something like an AUG, but again, the heavy hitter is really what helps us out. Really powerful gun, always has been kind of, quote unquote meta, and I would always recommend it. There really isn't too much to say about it. It's just kind of a more powerful AR that if you are slightly less accurate and you want to fight at more of like a medium rather than long range, AKM is pretty good and can also help you practice and learn recoil a decent bit. And lastly, for the AR category is going to be the M231. Very hard to control. It really is 100% only close quarters. Granted, you could use it at slightly like medium distances, but that really isn't worth it. It's like one kill for an entire mag of bullets. It's just, it's not usable, right? So the M231, very hard to control, but in close range, the gun absolutely dominates. It's basically the master of CQC. Granted, there are other guns like the Beowulfs and the Vector and things like that, but M231, as far as the AR category goes, is extremely dominant, and I would highly recommend it. Takes a lot of getting used to. It's very frustrating to use at times, but if you get a map like Metro or something like that, it really does dominate. Next up, let's talk about battle rifles. There aren't that many in the game, and there's really only one that I personally would buy, and even then it's like, it's not really a top choice for me, and that would be the FAL. The FAL is still really strong. It has a bit more recoil now because it got updated like a while ago, so it's not as accurate as it used to be, but it is still really strong. Granted, I would also consider buying like one of the Beowulfs in the battle rifle category, but it really, those are guns that are kind of dominant if you know how to use them close range, and other than that, they're basically like a DMR. So really the only battle rifle I personally would buy would be the FAL 50. Really strong gun, has a little bit of recoil, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, but the power that it does pack is 100% worth it. So for carbines, there really isn't too much to say about carbines. I don't think personally I would buy any of them. None of them really come from like a really good competitive standpoint. There are guns like the SR3M or the Groza 1 or even like the Honey Badger, which are good, but they aren't something that I would go out of my way to spend credits on. They're not going to instantly like up your game by any means. They're good guns, not saying they aren't, but I personally wouldn't spend the thousands of credits on them. Shotguns, I know a lot of you guys know I don't like shotguns. However, if there was any shotgun I personally would buy, it'd be the KS-23M. That, in my opinion, has always been the most dominant shotgun. If you throw something like Flechette on it, it's good. If you throw slugs on it, it's good. It works really well with any ammo type, and just overall as a shotgun, really solid. But then again, I don't like them, but I know I had to throw this in for the people who do like shotguns. So as far as SMG goes, there's two that I would buy, which would be the Vector and the M3A1. The Vector is just kind of like the poster boy of SMGs. It is the top one, it is the one that everyone kind of thrives with and everyone wants to get. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can see why that would be so important to so many people. The Vector is your top choice as far as SMGs. Really strong close range, and that's really all you're caring about. It can still, get a kill or two at a medium range, and obviously you don't want to use it long range, but it is really solid. There's no way you can go wrong with it. Easily a really good choice. The M3A1 now came into the meta recently because of an update not super long ago, where the M3A1 can now 2-shot to the body at close range, which is really good. Obviously it shoots a lot slower, but that 2-shot to the body is super powerful and helps out a ton. So if you're not the most accurate player out there, or you like guns that are slightly slower shooting and a little bit easier to control, M3A1's definitely the pick for you. DMRs. Honestly, I don't think there's anything worth buying. They all have the same general concept. None of them are really going to be out of like the ordinary from each other. They don't stand out super much. The only one, if I could recommend any to buy, realistically, I believe the VSS Venturas is a DMR, and even that is a little bit iffy. The VSS is a really powerful gun. It can be used really well either semi or in full auto close range. It does do a lot of damage, but like I said, they all don't really stick out. None of them really appeal to me in a way that like, wow, if I bought this could help my gameplay a lot. So that's why I really wouldn't recommend spending too much credits on them. You can get the same or similar effects out of most of the DMRs in that category. LMGs, this is probably where I have my most that I personally would buy. Well, second most in the category that I personally would spend some credits on. First up's going to be your L86, then the Scar Hammer, then the RPK-74, kind of in that order as well. The L86 behaves mostly like an AR. It's really accurate. It's a guaranteed 4-shot anywhere on the body at any range with no special attachment. And like I said, behaves like an AR, has a slightly longer reload, and you're a little bit slower with it, but it really does go crazy. It also has a lot of suppression, meaning that when you're shooting at people, their screen shakes a lot, making it a lot easier for you to win gunfights. L86, without a doubt, in my opinion, hands down, would be your top LMG pick. I know a lot of people will argue that, and that's fine, just my opinion. The Scar Hammer is another top tier one for me. It's really accurate, it holds 50 bullets, not a super long reload, but it's always been my go-to gun. It's the gun that I use to get the world record in kills, 210, and has always done really well for me. Granted, I'm not a huge fan of LMGs as a whole, but for most of the time, besides the L86, if I want something that really feels like an LMG, the Scar Hammer is what I'm definitely going for. Lastly, I would recommend the RPK-74, but this is an iffy one. It's really not something that I would prioritize buying, but if you have the extra credits and you really want to use it, then go for it. The RPK-74 is another really accurate gun. It's got a decent bit of power to it, but by no means is it top tier. I personally believe the L86 and the Scar Hammer are better than it, and its counterpart, the normal RPK, is a lot stronger, but has a little bit more recoil. So either way, the RPK-74 or the RPK would be good. I'm really basing this around how easy a gun can be to use and how much it can really up your gameplay, which is why the normal RPK isn't on my list, because it does have a little bit more recoil. A lot of people prefer an accurate gun compared to a high power gun. Lastly, snipers. This is where I believe there's the most differential and the most impact of buying a gun that you can get. The ones that I would recommend buying are the Mosin, the SVDS, the Scout, the WA2000, and if you have to, the M107, but let's talk about it. The Mosin is going to be the lowest rank one out of all of these, a lot lower of a rank. The Mosin SVDS are pretty close, but then the Scout and the WA2000 jump up to rank 195 and rank 200 respectively, so those are some really high jumps in the credit price of these guns. The Mosin is going to be basically your first choice if you want kind of a faster shooting gun, and it's something that, it's quick to get headshots and it's really easy to learn. The SVDS is better than the Mosin, but it has a little bit of recoil. If you prefer a bolt action gun that doesn't have that recoil, SVDS won't be your top choice. But as a whole, for the lower ranked snipers, SVDS is without a doubt the best choice you can get. If you were going to buy any sniper for the, the efficiency of how fast you can kill and just overall performance, at the good price of credits, SVDS is 100% the choice to go for. Next would be the Scout. The Scout is basically your direct upgrade from the Mosin and the SVDS. It shoots faster, it can still one-shot headshot. It's a little bit weird to get used to in my opinion. It scopes a lot faster. It's definitely different from the other two, but it's still a really solid choice. However, the credit price for this is insane. So unless you already have the Mosin and the SVDS, I really don't think buying the Scout's necessary. Next up, going to be your WA2000. I just made a video about this not too long ago, praising it. I think the WA2000 is an extremely good gun. If you're a higher rank and you're looking for that next sniper, the WA2000, definitely a go-to choice. Shoots pretty quick. It has about 6 bullets in a mag, and you can chamber the 7th. really top-notch gun overall. It's pretty easy to use, doesn't have much bullet drop, really fun as well. So if you were going to go with anything, you already have the Mosin and the SVDS unlocked, excuse me. I personally would pick the WA2000 over the Scout, but the Scout does shoot faster and it does have more ammo, so really make your decision there and kind of weigh the pros and cons for yourself. Now, the reason I put the M107 on the list is not because I like the gun, but it's better than the Hec8 or the BFG. If you're gonna buy one or the other, granted, I'm sure if you have enough credits for the M107, you already have the BFG, you might even be close to getting the Hec8, but the M107 absolutely dominates those two. As far as you kind of one shot to the torso all range snipers, this is without a doubt your top choice. You're going to be using this, you're going to get easy kills, it's extremely powerful. It's kind of a crutch gun in my eyes, where you only really use it if you can't hit headshots, but like, oh well. We're not talking about, the skill factor of a gun, it's how much it can really improve your gameplay. I won't lie, I bought the BFG as well. I was that kind of guy. I saw an early sniper, it wasn't too expensive, it one shot to the body, I thought it was awesome. It really isn't worth your credit. You get one shot in the chamber, there's really not much you can do, it's extremely slow for kills. Is it fun to use? Sometimes. Does it feel good just getting those one-shot kills all the time? Yeah, of course it does, but I really would not recommend buying it. You'll regret it later. It's going to be a waste of your credits. You could have spent that on some attachments for a gun you like, or other guns that you could easily have more fun with. So that's kind of going to wrap it up here, guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. These are just kind of my go-to guns, the top picks that I would do if I had to restart my account and I was buying guns on the way up, and that's hopefully explains some. I do have a lot of videos on basically all of these guns. If not, I'm missing one or two, but if you guys want to check out the videos on there, just go ahead and into your YouTube search bar, search up Godstatus, and then insert the gun name, and you'll easily find the videos. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.